as Abba mentioned, it was a little bit of a last-minute request. So I've decided I actually really love talking to students. And last year, a little bit later, about November, I got a chance to talk at another entrepreneurship forum. So I pulled out some notes from that. And just a couple of months ago, I spoke at IIT Delhi at another entrepreneurship function that was focused on technology startups. And as I started going through the notes of both of these events and these competitions, it struck me that really I have a passion that is social. I left the private sector after quite a bit of experience, particularly with GE. Raman, I'm glad to hear we're both GE alums. And decided I wanted to do good and entered into the nonprofit sector. And initially I thought the only way to do good was, as I said, entering into the nonprofit sector. But what I've realized over time and from these reflections on these two speeches that I've given is that really the question of doing good has to come from an entrepreneur. And there are two different kinds of entrepreneurs that I wanted to talk about in the couple of minutes that we have together. The first kind is a social entrepreneur. If we could have a show of hands again, not of those that see themselves as becoming entrepreneurs, but initially the job that you're going to take out of BIMTech, is it going to be in a large company, a big corporation, maybe even a medium-sized corporation? How many of you? I said I came out of college and I worked for GE, major corporation. No one sees themselves in a big company? I was going to say, either, this must be a very inexpensive institution because you're not doing the entrepreneurial stuff and you're not going to be working. So anyway, that was a good number of people. So social entrepreneurship applies to you. The second is social entrepreneurship. And there was a huge number, I think about 60%, as Rumi said, that say that they're going to become entrepreneurs. For all of you, I want to talk about social entrepreneurship. So I heard as I was coming up the stairs or coming up the elevator that you do have a CSR program here at BIMTech. How many in the room have taken the CSR course? I think it's optional, right? It's compulsory. Okay. So how many of you have taken it? And anytime anything is mandated and required, how much did you retain? Okay, good. The reason...
Other students will take the next
So the reason I bring up CSR is because I mentioned this phrase, social entrepreneurship. This is something that I've done. The others I can only revel at and meet people like Raman and Rimi that are real entrepreneurs on the dais. But social entrepreneurship I can talk about. It's really about taking the idea of CSR. Everyone has heard about it. Everyone's learned about it. I don't mean only the notion of writing a check and working with NGOs. There's a lot of feel-good factor. There's a lot of image building. That's nice. But it's not about your business. And all of you are in a business school, so I want to talk about business. CSR and social entrepreneurship is really about looking at your business both inwardly as well as outwardly. Inwardly, it's thinking about your employees, your suppliers, your investors, and your shareholders, and promoting a responsible business. How it is that you operate. Do you have a green business? Is your plant environmentally friendly? Are you thinking about volunteerism? Do you have fair labor practices? Have you started to employ persons with disabilities? Have you figured out how to make your operation disabled friendly? Whether that's using technology or that's using physical infrastructure changes. So that's an inward focus. An outward focus is really about customers and society at large, and seeing that there are opportunities in the country that we live in the societies around us. You mentioned working in rural India, and now you've decided to become an entrepreneur. Did you find opportunities out there for business? Precisely. So that's what I'm talking about. So I want to mention this because in India, the fact of the matter is only about 16% of the top 100 companies in India listed on the stock exchange have a CSR strategy. Only 16%. If they have a strategy, maybe it's progressive. Hopefully. So the other huge percentage of companies, plus those that are not listed and beyond the top 100, don't even have a strategy. So the idea is about being an individual in a corporation, doing a regular job, but thinking about what the opportunities are both internally and externally. And I'll give you a really great example of some activities that I've heard about coming up in this same manner. Everyone's heard of Piramal Healthcare, right? So there's an initiative that got started out of Piramal called Piramal Water. Initially started off as a pure CSR activity, seen as, a grant-giving activity. Let us see if this is something we can do. We care about our country. Let's get clean drinking water to the millions and millions that don't have clean drinking water. It is now a business. It is a business that is not just doing good. It's using technology in an incredibly innovative way, and it's changing people's lives. If you're working in the space of healthcare, you know that one of the biggest causes of poor health, and that's for everybody, is clean drinking water. How many of us know somebody with typhoid? Somebody in my office is out right now with typhoid. So this is what I mean about seeing opportunities within your company. When I was in manufacturing, I saw that there was a problem of accidents. Accidents happening primarily in the mornings and after lunch when people were tired and not warmed up. Simple solution. I started an exercise program. Not really exercise. First thing, right as the morning was getting started and right after lunch, over the loudspeaker, someone would come up and say, "Stand up, rotate your arms." And we got the plant manager out there doing the same thing. We saw accidents drop astronomically. So there was an inward social entrepreneurial activity. It helps the business. Not having accidents is a good thing. So I'm harping on that a little bit, but I think you've got the picture that we all have opportunities to do good internally within these organizations where we work. And all of those opportunities get you skills. Going and starting an exercise program, this is when I was straight out of college. I was exactly the same age as all of you. Going and starting an exercise program in my little plant of 100 people was not an easy thing. I had to find somebody to do the voiceover on the exercise activity. I had to get the buy-in of the plant manager. I had to actually get the plant manager and the rest of the team to come out every morning and do this activity. The project management skills that I developed, the negotiation skills that I developed, the ability to manage up, it was awesome. It was awesome. So, one example, or a couple of examples. Since we're here to talk about entrepreneurship, and I gather that there are several really interesting business plans that are out there, I thought I would also throw in a little bit of advice for entrepreneurs that I've understood as a comparison between Silicon Valley, which Remy brought up, and what's happening here. And some of the challenges, really some of the bottlenecks and issues that people come across, and I just want to put these out there as things to think about. Being open, recruiting great talent, getting top investors, and creating a buzz. There's a tendency for Indian entrepreneurs to be closed, to think of their ideas and worry about IP, intellectual property, and worry that somebody's going to take my idea and run with it. Except for this, from the CEO, most other team members will have little ideas about the company's vision. Does any of this ring true in any of the studies that you've done about entrepreneurship? These are true life scenarios that we've heard about. So what Indian startups need to really think about is opening up with their ideas so that there can be greater collaboration and getting greater talent and getting greater investors if you don't have the means personally to actually bring that idea to fruition. being aggressive. It's not meant to be rude, but being aggressive means being articulate. That elevator pitch that Rumi just mentioned to us. How many of us are able to do an elevator pitch about our ideas? I wish I could be here tomorrow for the business plan competition, but I'm not. But that's a huge asset that people can have. Socializing your ideas, it's also related to the first, but looking for peers in your space to socialize your ideas so that you can learn from others' mistakes and build on them. Since time is of the essence, I think I'm going to move on to my main big thrust of really talking about social entrepreneurs. I hope in the end, out of those 60% of hands that get raised, there's going to be a lot of you that are going to look at social issues. And in many ways, when I hear Rumi's description of her company and obviously Raman being able to create 35,000 jobs, those are social entrepreneurs. They're changing this country. Every year we need 10 million jobs for the people that are coming of age in this country. So social entrepreneurship is not simply about feeling good and doing good. It's really about addressing the needs of this country. There are lots of poor, and there are a lot of government programs that are trying to address the poor, and there are a lot of NGOs that are trying to address the poor. But they need help. It can't be done alone. So I mention this because NASCOM has created a platform to support and recognize this space. We've created the NASCOM Social Innovation Honor. And I'm sorry I'm using this as an advertising platform, but we just extended our deadline and we do have a student category. So I encourage you, if you have some ideas that are going to affect social change or improve the environment, please apply. There are many such activities that are out there. This one in particular gets you in front of our NASCOM members, our premier NASCOM members. So I encourage you to apply. I mentioned this also because I wanted to mention a couple of the honorees. And I know I have very little time, so I'm just going to mention two. One of the NSIH winners from last year developed a product that satisfies customer needs as well as is an innovative product and has the ability to revolutionize the way mobile phones are used in India. Most people learn to read and write first using their mother tongue, right? Most. But the traditional handicap that a person has when he uses a cell phone keypad is that the letters are in English. Here I have a few Hindi letters, but they don't really appear when I'm typing. Panini Keypad has created an application that will work on every cell phone, including this little 1,000 rupee Nokia phone, where the person can type in their mother tongue and usually faster than they can type in English. Because what it does is it comes up with a predictive text. So it's smarter than your T9 dictionary that's on most of these phones. So this is going to revolutionize the mobile phone. We've already talked about the mobile phone having the largest reach in the country, and all our drivers, all our sabjiwalas, they all have cell phones. But now they're going to be able to use the function that you and I use multiple times a day, and for various things. Some personal, some for fun, and some for actually doing business. So I think because time is running out, I have a ton more examples, and I do encourage you to go to our website, see about the competition. There's a lot of the examples of the winners that are all very inspiring. Whether they're fighting literacy issues, or they're fighting environmental issues, or they're helping the disabled. There's a ton of examples. So bottom line, I had this little line that I put to you as well, as I said to the IFM students. I challenge India's youth, which I wish I was still part of, but I'm not. I challenge India's youth to find business solutions to India's vast social and environmental issues. We have tons, and all of those issues can flip into opportunities. I wish you the best of luck. Thank you.